Hello. I think we are live. If I'm not mistaken, we should be live. So anybody who is joining, feel free to say hello and tell us where you are, and what you're doing. And yes, we are very new to this live thing, so we are very curious to see how all of this will unfold. So bear with us if there are some small hinges and some small things that don't work. Yeah, as I said, we are new to this. So, we have Morena. Hi Morena, how are you? We just spoke, we wrote with Guy, another motorcyclist who is a friend of ours who is traveling, and whom we'll be meeting very soon, hopefully. He is in Georgia now, I think, and yeah, he will be joining us. He will be coming over here maybe also very soon. As you all probably, if some of you maybe know, we've been now 2 months in Iran. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you very much for your lovely message. We loved it. Thank you so much.
Hi, Vera. We hope the preparations for Iran are almost ready. We hope to see you soon.
Oh, there we are. People that are planning their trips to Iran. Lovely. We can't express our gratitude and our joy of the moments and the experiences we had in Iran. It was really lovely. We hope to share with you some special moments we had with Iranians, with Iran, with the culture and everything. So there will be some special footages that we haven't shared online so far. So that's good. So we are lovely. We see all people here joining in. Hi, Susanna. Hi, Susanna.
Hi, Barbie.
Hey, from the US. Hi, Barbie. How are you? How is Scott? Well, if you have questions, just feel free. Moje Charel. Take a kuss. If you have any questions, feel free to ask questions. Anabela and myself, we will be glad to answer all kinds of questions.
Mm-hmm. I think until we see the first question, maybe we start telling us about the things that we have been already asked. And one of the things is, how are the Iranians and how is Iran? And for us, it was a big surprise. As you know, we had been in Georgia before, and we were so surprised by the hospitality of people in Georgia. And we thought it's impossible that there will be any other country or people so friendly as Georgians. And what happens? We are surprised, and the Iranians are even more hospitable than what we experienced in Georgia. It is to the point of people stopping us on the street. People, we have no idea who they are, and they just ask us where we come from, and then they ask us if we have a place to stay. And very often we are just arriving to the city, so we don't have a place to stay, and they just tell, come to our home, we would be very happy to receive you. And we go to their homes and we have dinner together. We stay the entire evening speaking about our lives in Europe, about their lives in Iran. There's a very good exchange. They are very curious to know about our countries, and we are curious to know about their countries. So we have had a lovely time in Iran. We can only advise.
Yes. Just as a side note, our first day when we here, when we entered the country, our first night we were looking for a campsite, and a lovely couple approached us on the street. They made sure that we stopped the bike, and then they came out, had a chat with us. And after 5 minutes, they were saying, well, come to our home. We want you to stay at our home. And we were like, oh, no, don't worry. And they insisted. They really kept insisting. And they were very, very friendly and nice. And so we stayed there. And we had 2 lovely days with them. They showed us the area, the nice things to see there. And But I also want to show you something before, you know, you see us all the time here on screen.
There is a question, and I think we will just answer to this one before you go on, which is Emmanuel is asking how to be online as well. I think that doesn't work. I think the exchange will be, you will write your questions and we will speak. I don't think there is any other way of having it.
Not that I know of. I know that you can put one person sometimes every now and then on online connecting. We will try this maybe later. We'll see. But I want to show you one small video. I mean, one encounter we had on the highway. As I said, people were approaching us, you know, on the streets, etc. But also on the highway, when we were on the highway, like driving 100 kilometers per hour or something. And people were like waving, getting close to our motorbike. I was like driving like, ooh, not so sure about all these kind of situations. And people were like starting to chat and give us things, you know, like fruits and apples.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. We had people like giving us ice cream on the highway. And we had one guy, he was a watermelon seller, and he sang for us. And I want to show you that because it's so lovely. It's so lovely. So bear with me here. I have him over here. Look at this.
I mean, I think this shows how happy Iranians are. This is something that Jorge and I spoke very often. We have the feeling that despite everything, despite the struggle and the difficulties, Iranians are very happy people.
Well, that was one of the examples. One of the examples of Iranian spontaneity and Iranian. They have a brilliant sense of humor, yes. So
I don't know if there is any more questions. I think Paulo, you are right. The country is so demoralized. We hear so many bad things about Iran on the media, and that's not the feeling we have when we are here or when we were in Iran. Yeah, the generosity is so big. People want to change things, but they want to change it in a democratic way. Yeah. They are very peaceful. They want a new government to come, but they want it to be done legally, not through the way of force. So we are in love with these people.
Yes. And needless to say that we're also in love with the country itself. I mean, we thank you so much, guys, for all your support, for your likes, for your shares, and don't hesitate to share this video among your friends that are interested to go to Iran. We just, as I maybe previously said, we just left Iran, heavy-hearted, I must say. Like 2 days ago, we are now in Azerbaijan, where we will stay for a couple of weeks because we want to work on the next diariesof issue, which will be, of course, about Iran. So we are very eager to show you in big pictures and in nice stories all the crazy and beautiful things that we experience in this lovely country. So stay tuned, and we are looking very much forward to have the magazine ready. So
we wanted to answer to all the questions that you've been asking, and today nobody's asking anything, but you have asked before, so maybe I can already share some of the things that we've been asked the most. And one of the things for me as a woman is how was it to have to endure the hijab for almost 2 months?
I had my own hijab.
I also had that hijab whenever he had it, but every time I had to take off the helmet, for example, I had to put the hijab, and then, coming out of the room and forgetting the hijab, and then running to the room again and putting it and to go outside. It was difficult, but all the time that girls or women in Iran or even men ask me, is it difficult for you to wear it? I said, it's okay, it's only for 2 months. But these women have to endure it all the time, and they are educated people. They know what they want, and they don't want this, and still they endure it.
I mean, some women wear it because they want it, of course, but most of the people that we came in touch with, we really had the feeling that it was more of a burden than a relief for them. So yeah, that was definitely. I mean, I think there are two things. I mean, there are Iranian people and there is the government, and people very often made clear that they distance themselves from the government. You know, they were, one of the things they were saying, the guys with the turban and the beards, etc. They have their own way of doing things, and we don't agree necessarily with them. And this is a feeling we very much felt throughout our stay there. We encountered, of course, a few people that were very supportive of the government, but it was a minority, I have to say, among all of them that we encountered. Yeah.
Okay. There are no questions there, new, but
questions. Bring up questions.
Okay, I can tell you what the closer friends used to ask is, how is food in Iran? So I fell in love with Iranian ice cream.
Oh, yes.
They have so many tastes, but my favorite one was a mix of what was it? Saffron with rose water,
yes,
and pistachios. I don't know if that's English word, but it was delicious.
Here is, for example, one dessert we had very recently, which is reshte hoshka, and that's the preparation of it. It's very lovely. It's like a dough that is spread out on a hot surface, and then it's filled with a nut filling, a sweet nut filling. It's very good. So this is for the sweet part. Then I wanted to show you, of course, one of the friends we made. I mean, people we stayed at their homes because they just invited us over. So there we have something. Where is it? Anabela, maybe you can. I don't find it here. Well.
Oh, but they eat a lot of what we noticed that Iranians do
and bread. They have lovely bread. They have, that we know of, they have like 4 kinds of bread. They have the naan, they have the lavash, and they have the barbari, and they have the lendek. I can't say it.
But Iranians love doing picnics.
Oh, yes.
And because they have so many parks, green parks, I think, well, is it 1/3 of Iran that is desert?
Yeah.
So they give a lot of importance to green.
Look how quickly the bread was ready. So quickly. Sorry.
They give a lot of importance to green, and they want to stay outside in the fresh, of course, not in the under the heat. So there's a lot of green parks, and people just, the entire families, it's not just friends or a couple, is 3-4 generations go together to the park, and they enjoy themselves together, eating, not drinking alcohol, obviously, but being together.
We have one question asking us, Marius, thank you very much for your question, asking us where we entered Iran. Well, we entered Iran through Armenia, and we entered through Jolfa. So Jolfa is the closest town in Iran, coming from Armenia, and that was very straightforward. I mean, the customs, the border is a little bit chaotic but mostly because we came with the bike, so we had to do customs in one building, and then our passports was in another building, and it was like 300 meters away, so we had like to go back and forth, but it was not very crowded, so it was very easy and straightforward. We had, I think, to pay like €1 or something to get the customs cleared, mm-hmm. But bear in mind, you have to have the carnet de passage, of course.
For Iran.
And the carnet de passage makes sure that they stamp correctly your part of the carnet. That's very important. And make also sure, because the guy I had at the customs, he was like replacing another person that was on holiday, because it was Nowruz, so New Year when we went there, when we entered the country. So, and he was a little bit lost, so I had to ask him and make sure that he would stamp, and put the date and his signature. Because if there is an issue, you always can say, well, no, there is the date, and that's not a problem. So yeah, well, you ask us where we've been to. We've been to quite a lot of places. So we came from Jolfa to Tabriz, then we crossed the country, like northwest, from the north to the east, sorry, all the way down to Bandar Abbas, so to the southern coast. There it was,
but it wasn't a straight line.
No.
So we did a lot of zigzagging because we didn't want to go the shortest way. We wanted to go the prettiest way. So after Tehran, we went a little bit east to visit and to go through the villages that are closest to the desert. And after the desert, we came back to a bigger city in Kerman, which is already rather south. And then we went to the coast, Bandar Abbas, and then from the coast we took a ferry. And the good news, there are many good news for bikers in Iran, is that as a bike, we did not pay for the ferry. Also on highways, we did not pay tolls.
They just wave us through, and of course they stop us because they want to have a small chat and know where you're from, etc. But it's lovely. I love it to be in countries where they are bike friendly and just wave us through.
The other good news is the petrol, the price of petrol. It is, George will tell you because I'm not good with numbers. It's like 1 liter, 10,000 tumas, which means
10,000 tumas, which is 10,000 riyals, which is like a sixth of a euro for a liter petrol.
It was very cheap.
So it's very, very cheap. And actually, unfortunately, because of the political situation, the riyal has even dropped more. When we entered the country, the 1 riyal was 50,000. Now it's around almost 75,000 riyal, 1 euro. So yeah, that's for us good, but for them definitely not so good. We have Rui asking where we've been sleeping. So we have, very good question. We had a mix of,
well, why do I need to speak about sleeping? We have a tent with us, so there was a lot of camping done in Iran, even though we only slept in a camping site, like an official camping site, once. Most of the time we slept in parks or in the wild, because Iran, from the beginning we had a feeling of safety. In the first house where we were invited, which was on the first day we arrived in Iran, we were invited into people's home, and we noticed they left the key on the door outside, and we thought there can't be a better sign showing how safe it is, and the criminality is very low. So there was never for us the feeling of, am I going to be scared of sleeping here or not? So the only time we got scared was when George was beaten by something.
No, bitten, not beaten. I was bitten
by an animal while driving the motorbike.
A mosquito or something.
Or a spider, we don't know, but we were in an area close to the desert where there are poisonous animals. So for a couple of hours we were suffering, or George was suffering, and I was being solidary. And I was worried because
I just had my arm a little bit swollen. It
got really swollen.
Quite swollen.
It was double size.
But
eventually, after a couple of hours, he wasn't sweating or with fever or anything, but we thought, this should be okay.
To answer, the quick answer was we did a lot of camping, a lot of wild camping, because the parks are relatively safe. We did a lot of couch surfing, but not through the couch surfing website, but because people invited us over, and every now and then we would accept it because they would insist, and so we would accept, and we would have always very, very nice experiences, and it was really delightful to be with them, to share being with their families. And talking about families, they are very, very family oriented in the sense that when they travel, when they do their picnics, when they eat, it's like multi-generation. You have, the grandpa, the children, the grandchildren, and that's very lovely. That's really nice to see. Then to answer Charles, thank you, Charles, for the question. Merci vielmals. Iran is like 1/3 desert, and all this area, the desert area, is very, very barren and arid. But there are lovely gardens, and they cherish them, and they care for them. They water them all the time, and actually people use them very, very much. It's like, the gardens, even in big towns like Tehran, the gardens are full of people. People
for picnics,
picnicking,
for siesta,
sleeping,
for everything.
And the gardens are very beautiful, very well maintained, with flowers, nice smelling flowers. Talking about smell, Iran smells very lovely. Mm-hmm. They have Gol Mohammedin, which is a flower they absolutely love. Kind of rose. That is
they
delicious.
Put it on tea, on ice cream, on many things, some desserts as well. So it is very nice. It's a pity that I think we are going to miss it.
Yeah. We were very surprised, for example, for Tehran. Tehran is a huge metropole. It's like, I think 18 million or something. And it's very, very crowded, very busy, very a lot of traffic. And still there we found some very nice spots, very nice parks, gardens, where we spent some time. We also did like the locals do, we ate, we bought something to eat and then came to the park to eat, but we would seldomly stay alone for a long time, because people would just drop by and have a chat, and that's lovely. Mario, you say, don't share all the secrets now, make us suffer until the magazine. You're right, we don't spoil all of it. Most of the best pictures and the memories and stories, we have them for the magazine. So stay tuned for the magazine. It will come out, by the way, in July, so beginnings of July. So now we are working heavy on the magazine here in Azerbaijan. So we are here in a small hotel, and we will swap to a small Airbnb tomorrow to be really, behind the computer and work on the issue.
Another question from Emmanuel, who we are so glad to meet in a couple of weeks.
Emmanuel, on te verra dans quelques semaines, j'espère.
He's also on a motorbike. We are also going to meet a Luxembourger on a motorbike here in Azerbaijan. Guy. Yes. Perhaps we will even meet along the road further away, because we are going the same route.
Yeah.
But Emmanuel is asking about young people expectations, or how they are feeling. We had the feeling they were frustrated with the financial situation in Iran, because they are aware Iran is a rich country with so many natural resources, and there is really no excuse or no reason for the poverty, or some poverty, even though I wouldn't speak of poverty in Iran, but of the difficulties.
Yes,
they would like to have
a
better life, and the currency is going down. Just to give you an idea, when we entered Iran, €1 was worth 50,000 riyals. You did?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't hear. No. I never hear what you say. And by the end it was 80,000, so a big difference. But they are hopeful, as when we speak about the political situation, they always say, well, these people in power will not live forever. As we told you, they are very peaceful and patient, and we see that.
But a lot of young and particularly well-educated young people, men and women, they very often want to leave the country, want to, go for Europe, Canada, US, Australia, etc., because, they feel like they are, pushed back somehow. They don't have many opportunities, economic and job-wise. It's getting worse and worse. And now with the sanctions, people are afraid that things will even get more difficult. So that's, yeah, as Anabela also said, although people are very, like joyful and happy people, you feel like they do struggle a bit with the political and economic situation that you feel. You don't feel it at first, the first approach, because they are very happy to meet you. They are very happy to see you, and they they overwhelm you sometimes. But when you start having a chat with some people, you notice that it's not that easy for them.
Oh, Guy is there now. Hi, Guy.
Salut Guy, ja, wir freuen uns auch. Wie gesagt, wir sind nach ein Weilchen high.
Yeah.
We will stay here a while.
One of the questions we got is, are there tourists in Iran? Yes, there are tourists in Iran. And believe it or not, while we were here, there were people that we knew or who we wanted to meet, like Albert from Luxembourg, Albert and Maurice from Luxembourg, and Jean Letan from Portugal. And believe it or not, we didn't manage to meet because Iran is 4 times as big as Germany. It's a huge country, and it would be impossible for us and for them to make the tour to meet. So these friends we will meet somewhere else for sure. I think some of them are going on the same route as we are, so we are hoping to see them later on. And we see now that Susanna was asking if we are coming back to Luxembourg in July. So no, Susanna, this time because of the longer trip, and because we can't leave the motorbike now in these countries that we are going through, and because we want to reach Japan before winter, we are not going to Luxembourg for the launch of the issue about Iran. We are going to do everything from abroad, and at the end of next month, the issue of Iran is going to the printer, and the distribution will be done as normally. There won't be a launch as usual. We will skip the party for when we arrive in Luxembourg, and so there will be 2 new issues. So, but just to remind everybody who is now watching us, pre-orders are already available, so you can go to the website and order the magazine. We are working on it. Very soon, perhaps the next week, there will be the competition for Guess the Cover.
Yes, very soon. So stay tuned. Ordering, you can order here. You can go here, shop now.
George, don't be pushy.
No, I just show them. It's around.
Now everybody knows where you can buy the magazine. Yeah. So
you can also subscribe to our newsletter, which is very good, to follow us everywhere where we will be and where we share the nice stories. So here you can pre-order your Iran issue. So
fine.
For the people that just joined and that don't know about Diaries Off, that's us and our lovely travelers that are going around the world. And we started last year a trip on our motorcycle from Portugal to Japan, where we will meet Tanya and Daniel, a lovely couple, friend of ours in Japan, and we will do it overland with the motorcycle. And right now we just came back. I mean, we just crossed Iran. We stayed there almost 2 months. We stayed there almost 2 months. We made almost 8,500 kilometers in Iran. As Anabela said, it's a huge country. It's really big, and so that's our first live we do. Hi Faisal, how are you? How are things in Tbilisi? Lovely to see you online.
Okay, there is here another question by Mario. He's asking about telephone and emails, also internet. Internet was not internet. Internet is not an issue. There is internet in Iran, and it's fairly good. There was also, although
salut Abbas.
An issue with some websites. So Facebook, for example, we didn't have access to it, or most of the time we didn't, or YouTube. And in order to avoid that, we had to install, I think George can speak about that.
A VPN. You have to install a VPN. Do it before, I mean, for all the people that are interested to come to Iran, do it before coming to Iran, it will be much easier to get the VPN, because otherwise, you know, when you look up on the internet through a Wi-Fi or even through your cell phone communication, when you buy a Iranian SIM card, of course, searching for VPN is blocked. So install your VPN on your cell phone or on your computer before coming to Iran. It's much easier. We didn't do it, so we were a few weeks without, without internet, or we just had like regular. WhatsApp works though, but we just had like regular.
Yeah. So for Mario, WhatsApp is good for telephone connections. You were asking us about telephone. It is true that I think we didn't even check if our roaming worked, but I read today in a group about Iran, I think I will give you the link to that group, of someone from Europe, I think from the Netherlands, saying that the connection worked fine with roaming. So that's not an issue, but a national Iranian card is very cheap. It costs us €3 to have it working, and it was like 3 giga of data, so it worked perfectly well. The problem was, as we stayed longer than 1 month, after 1 month the card expired, and then we were again without internet. But
yes, the comments are dropping in. That's so nice. Thank you so much, guys. It's been lovely, and thank you also so much for your following, for your shares, for your comments on the social media, on Instagram. I mean, all this internet thing and the sites that are blocked here in Iran, that's why we were not so active on Facebook. We could share some things on Facebook because we had our Facebook account linked with Instagram, but we couldn't comment and, all these things because our VPN expired. Carlos just said, watch out the battery. Well, the battery of Anabela's computer just is dead, and ours is going very, very dangerously low. But we are still good. So we can continue. Thank you, Barbies. Thank you, Barbie. We are safe, very safe. We feel very good.
Someone else asked something else, and I don't. Yes, Guy was talking about extending the visa.
Yes.
Yes, that is possible. So it is possible, if we understood well, to extend it as long as 3 times. We have only done it once, and we got an extra month, which we didn't use totally. But we have read today about someone who asked for someone we met, who asked for a visa in Tabriz, in the north of Iran, an extension of it, and didn't get it. We did it in the south, and and we managed. So.
Yes, now I see. You guys see our battery live, of course. Yes, now I see. Exactly. Yeah.
I think we put the battery. Do you have any other questions required? Otherwise, we will just keep on. Josh wanted to show you 2 or 3, or maybe a little bit more of photos or videos. This is.
As we said, Iranians are very enthusiastic about foreigners, and here we were in a very important site in Shiraz. It was Hafez's tomb. Hafez is one of the most important poets, Iranian poets, and people flock in there. I mean, it's really always crowded, and it was actually a holiday, so it was even more crowded. And these young boys, they had seen us coming in, because actually when we arrived with the motorcycle, I mean, the guards always wave us like to the front door, because they feel like the motorcycle is safer at the front door. So we always get a lot of attention. And as you see, these boys were like crowding us. Thank you.
Sorry.
Were crowding us and taking a lot of selfies. They love selfies.
Yes, and they always like coming to foreigners, whoever. It's true that usually with the motorbike, they love the motorbikes. Here in Iran, you cannot have so big motorbikes. I think the The highest is 200 cc for the engine. And because we had an 800, it was a big success here. And funny is not only amongst men, women were crazy about motorbikes. We had ladies of, I don't know, I think they were 60 climbing on the motorbike. There was a point where Josh was not there. I was there alone. And I thought they are going to put the motorbike down and they are going to get hurt. But they were climbing on it and they were, you know, photographing themselves on it. It was really very funny.
Who is asking how much is our weight?
Why?
do we look like fat or skinny? We had a lot of kebab. Oh, one thing, maybe for vegetarians, Iran is maybe difficult. So bear in mind, it's not that easy for vegetarians. Merci vielmals, Charles. Dicke Kuss und Christian.
And Charlie is asking about the time. So in Iran, the time difference is from Luxembourg 3.5 hours.
2.5.
No, yes, Luxembourg 2.5 hours, and
yes.
Portugal 3.5, which was very strange for us to see that
Merci,
you can
Christophe.
have a half an hour difference. But
Merci, Christophe.
Okay, Eric is asking. Hi, Eric, how are you? Asking about if we managed to work. In Iran, it was very difficult because Iran is huge, distances are very long. So either we were visiting or we were on the road or we were resting. It was impossible to work on the magazine. So that's why now we are in Azerbaijan and we are going to stop for a couple of weeks to work on the magazine.
These are some pictures of one of the lovely couples that had us invited to their homes. They had prepared a feast, dinner for us, lovely things.
Everything looks delicious and is delicious.
Yes.
And the way, the care that they give and the love that they put into the food for absolute strangers is something that we learned. It's a lesson, and we hope that to learn something with them. And as you see, also most of the houses don't have almost any furniture. The living is the floor, and the same room is first the living, then the dining room, and later the bedroom. Everything happens in the same space, and eventually we got used to it, and now we find it even very comfortable to sleeping on the ground and eating on the ground, and even cooking. Preparations for dinner are made on the ground.
Well, we are doing this live session here on the ground because we got used to it, and actually we always slept very well on the ground.
Yes.
I love to be on the ground. Just to show you some more pictures, just as an extra candy and a sneak peek to the magazine. This was a picture taken on the highway. It was like a road in the desert, and we met these two fellows here. It's a German couple. Hopla. These guys here. Okay, no, I can't. It's a German couple, cyclists that are doing also around the world trip, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, we stopped. We had a lovely chat with them.
3 hours.
Yeah, we stayed on the side of the road almost 3 hours. And this truck driver pulled over, stopped in the middle of the traffic, came back and stopped his truck, gave us some shadow, gave us some tea and some cookies. And we had
stayed with us.
And stayed with us for a couple of minutes, maybe, I don't know, half an hour. And it was lovely. That's these kind of encounters you have a lot in Iran.
And one of the things we loved about Iran is the photo that you are seeing right now. This is an old hammam, so it's a bathhouse. They had it in their culture to have these places for public bathing. And nowadays, most of them, but not all of them, most of them have been converted into tea houses. So they are still enjoying the space, but now differently. Instead of the bath, they are now having the tea. And we saw groups of students, of old men, and all kinds of people, so women as well.
Oh, I have to put battery.
Who really enjoy who really enjoy the space. And now we have to go for more questions.
Yeah, let us know what do you think about these live sessions. I mean, it's for us it's a first time, so we are very eager to know what you think. Shall we do it anytime again, or is it like boring for you guys, or shall we change something?
Salut Marlene.
Hallo Conny, freut mich dich zu lesen.
There is another question from Susanna. How is the English language with local people?
Oh.
With young people, it's okay. I mean, it's more or less okay. So English is not taught in schools. So most what we experience is that many people that can afford put their children in private schools or in with people who know English so that they learn. And what happens is that on the day off, which here in Iran is on Fridays, parents go with their children to the parks, where they have their picnics. And every time they spot a tourist, they make their child go to them to speak English because they are paying for lessons. And it's really nice because the parents are asking the questions, and then the child serves as interpreter and talking to us. And it's very good to see how parents are proud of their children and how children are making an effort and really enjoying talking to foreigners. It's really nice.
Merci vielmals, Guy. Merci, muito obrigado, Carlos. Muito obrigado, ainda bem que gostes. Muito obrigado. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado, Paulo. Thank you, Paulo. I'm glad that Joel. Hello, Joel. How are you, Joel? He loves our adventures.
So, yeah, Connie is asking about the situation for women. We spoke about it a little bit before in the beginning, but it's a burden. It's a burden. Most of them feel it as a burden. Not only the hijab or the chador, because in some places they are using the long chador,
which by the way means tent in Farsi. Chador means tent. So every time we came to a spot, just a parenthesis, we were asking, where can we put up the tent? So, yeah, you were...
Yes, so they as I say, they are educated women who can think by their own heads, and they don't like it. And for that reason, we think, there are so many Iranians who go on holiday, those that can afford, abroad to the neighbor countries, Armenia or Azerbaijan, where they can just for a few days be without the hijab. But it's not only the hijab, it is the legs that need to be covered, it's the arms that need to be covered, it's the bottom that needs to be covered. For 2 months I was covering all my body, and yesterday it was the first time I was wearing a dress, and I was telling George, it feels strange now, I feel almost naked, and it was only 2 months. So you can imagine how the women, especially women, feel. And they are still, I mean, of course they used to have a freedom that they lost with the revolution, so it's worse for them. I think they have experienced freedom and now they don't have it any longer. But in Iran it's not so bad as in other countries. So women can drive, they can go to university, they can work, they don't need to do things only with men, so they have a certain independency. Mm-hmm. But you can still see not only women, also men don't like that their women need to be covered.
Yes. I mean, as you just saw in the pictures, in this young couple, it's a Tehrani couple. At home, the first thing they did was getting the hijab off, and she has, her name is Iran, by the way, and she has beautiful hair, but cut short. It's a very modern woman. So yeah, I think most of the women are very well educated. We also talked about the language. The question about the language was raised, about English, etc. And it was unbelievable, the amount of people that came to us talking really good English. And when we asked them how they learned it, they said, well, just by talking to tourists like you here in the square and wherever I can meet them. So they are very, very eager to learn. and very intelligent people. Definitely, we were blown away. I was very, very impressed. Thank you, Mario, for for telling the people to buy our magazine. Yeah, buy our magazine, pre-order the magazine, of course.
It's now available.
I think it will be a very lovely issue, and we also will be sharing some very nice stories from other photographers that we met along the way.
I wanted to show you something else. This is heaven.
Oh,
it is
yes.
Absolutely heaven. And this replaced chocolate, because for 2 months I didn't eat any chocolate. And this is the ice cream I told you about, with saffron and with pistache or pistachio, I don't know, and with the rose water.
Yes,
it's
very delicious.
And this is a natural juice. And this was Iran and the Mohsen, the couple we stayed with in Tehran, who prepared for us, just out of nothing.
Well, then you have sites like these. There are salt lakes. I mean, we didn't talk much about the landscape, because the landscape in Iran is really amazing. I mean, there is so much diversity. You have, so as we said, 1/3 is desert. So you have beautiful deserts. Then you have in the northern western parts in Kurdistan, where we spent quite a few days in Kurdistan. It's very beautiful, very, very green, lush green valleys, really beautiful. Then you have in the south, very hot and humid climate, in Bandar Abbas and in the few islands. Very hot. We had over 40 degrees. So when we were back at the 30-something degrees, we were very happy and glad. So Iranians say in Iran you have always the 4 seasons at any time of the year, and that's true. In like 1 or 2 weeks, we experienced snow, 0 degrees in the tent. We were like freezing, and then like 2 weeks after, we were in the south and we had 40 degrees. So it was really, the gap is huge, and the distances are quite big as well. As Anabela said, it's 4 times Germany.
Well, one of the questions we got, not now.
Rui, enviado especial.
One of the questions we got was about what was our favorite part of Iran. And we were, of course, for us, the desert is exotic. Yeah, we are not used to desert, so we wanted to see that part, and we were overwhelmed with the different kind of deserts they have, but especially the one in the Kaluts, which they call sand castles, because they have the rocks, which are made almost of sand, have these castle shapes. And it was in this castle that the highest temperature ever on Earth was registered, and it was around...
Guess. No. Guess. What would be the highest temperature on Earth? Just one guess. Come on, one guess. The first to guess it correctly.
I don't know it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on. First guess. I show you in the meanwhile some pictures of some arid deserts. Ooh,
but this is not the Kaluts.
No, this is not the Kaluts, but still. So the guess, what is the highest temperature measured on Earth? Temperature, I mean.
Arid deserts.
But this is not the Kaluts.
No.
Go back to the... we didn't see it.
This is not the Kaluts.
60.
No, it's more.
60. No, it is.
In Celsius, yeah, in Celsius, Barbie. In Fahrenheit, I'm a little bit lost, I have to admit. In Celsius, sorry.
Yeah, so you're very close.
So, the guess? What is the...
Yes, Francisco is the closest. Someone Googled here. You're very quick at Googling. Yeah, I think it's 70.7 degrees. So if you're interested to come to Iran, don't come in summer, at least not to the south or to the desert. You will cook, literally. Yeah. So these guys, these 2 young fellas, we met we first saw it, we saw, you know, like out there in the sand, we saw some two profiles, two people, and we thought they were cyclists or motorcyclists like we, because they
were waving at us.
They were waving at us, and they had their motorcycles were packed, etc. So we passed, and then as we saw them, we made the U-turn and we came back, because, you know, when you see some other travelers, you stop, particularly cyclists. We admire cyclists. We are really, really very, we admire them a lot, because weather conditions are not always so easy. And then it turned out that they are camel shepherds. They had each their 100 camels, and they were tracking their camels with their nice bikes here. Their bikes were lovely.
I don't even need to say how long these guys stayed with George, taking photos and exchanging in a language that couldn't be understood, because they couldn't speak any English, and George can't speak any Farsi, but somehow they were communicating. And they were, you know, mounting on George's bike. George was mounting on their bike, and they were having fun. They were boys having fun.
Yes.
It was nice.
You know, boys and bikes, that's how it is.
Okay, yes.
Yes, looks like Uyuni.
Yes.
Christoph, you're right. Looks a little bit like Uyuni. Uyuni is a little bit wider, and the salt was thicker and denser in Uyuni. Here it was also like a little bit more water, because it had rained a couple of days before. So we didn't dare to enter too much deep into the salt lake, because we were afraid to, you know, like get stuck in there. Francisco, a t-shirt, well, that we can probably arrange.
Well, you will need to wear it every day.
Like I do. But let me show you just some other small videos.
If you have any questions, don't hesitate.
Yeah. If you have any questions, I would say we go until, what time is it now? Oh, we always passed over time, but that's okay. I think we go until 9, maybe 5 more minutes. So any questions are more than welcome. In the meantime, let me share some other small footage with you that could be interesting.
A question from Francisco. What's the longest time you rode your bike non-stop? Do you mean in this trip or ever? Because ever, the longest George did, I wasn't with him. I wouldn't have allowed. He drove 1,000 kilometers?
1,200 or something?
1,200 kilometers in one day.
But that was in Europe, and that was like highways. Here in Iran, I think the longest distance we did was, I think one day we had 400 or 500. Yeah, most of the days, I mean, in these, we spent now 50 days here. We had a total of 8,500, around 8,500 kilometers. I checked this afternoon because, yeah, we are getting our things sorted out.
Yeah, regarding the temperature in the Kalutz Desert, it was 70
yes,
degrees.
70.7. I have to Google it again, but I think it's 70.7.
Yeah, Francisco, it was too much, but yeah. It was just because Iran is really a very big country. Yeah. Usually we don't drive so much.
No.
And this time it was really, for me, it was a little bit too much. So I'm really happy that next time, the next country will make us travel a little bit less on the road.
We have a very nice question from Christoph. That's a very good question. Christoph, we met a few couples with children, and their feedback was that Iranians, and we've experienced that, I mean, not directly, but indirectly as well, the Iranians love children. I mean, to the point that the couple we met, they were
they
Swiss.
had a child of 5 and a child of 3.
Yes. And the girl had like very nice blonde hair, very bright blonde hair. And they said she was always the star. Anywhere she would come, people, you know, and people are not too shy. So they approach them, you know, they want to take a photo with them and with the child. And but they said the child handled it perfectly, no problems, because people are very respectful and very kind. And this was like, because it was really a small child, you know. But in general, people are very, very friendly and very happy to see children. It's really, really lovely.
Mm-hmm. Another thing people usually ask us is about Iranians being Muslim, how we see it, especially because we spent a little bit of Ramadan in Iran.
Yes.
And what we notice is Iranians are for Islam what I say, Europeans for Catholicism, which means, yes, we are, but we hardly ever go to church. And this is what we saw with young couples, or the people we met. When we talked about religion, they said, yes, we are, because our parents are, but we never go to church. We don't pray at home. So we saw that difference, yeah. I think many people are not praying. They are Shia in Iran, not Sunni. So the Shia already pray less times a day, for example, than the Sunni. But really, we didn't see young people praying. Sometimes we did see people, for example, in the bazaars, some of the workers going aside to pray, but they are really very cool with religion.
Okay, so countdown is on, 2 minutes going. So any questions? It's now or never for the next times. I'm just. Thank you, Emmanuel. We will try our best. So here a nice video from a very nice. Oops. Yeah, you see rough cuts. I mean, you see really we show you behind the scenes. So you see rough cuts. This is like a drone footage from a castle. It's like in Bam, which the most eastern we got. It's not advised to go more eastern than Bam. Even Bam, some authorities advise not to go there because it's very close to the border with Pakistan, and also not too far away from Afghanistan, but mostly from Pakistan. But it's a very nice, well, then we got crazy with the drone. So this is like, a citadel. So it's a whole town built with adobe mud bricks and clay, and it's very spectacular. I mean, because you get lost in the small streets and hallways and things like that. It's a ruin, of course, but the castle is being rebuilt. It's a UNESCO site. Iran, by the way, has over 20 UNESCO World Heritage sites.
This was Rui. What's wrong with Jorge's hair? He went to the barber in Iran. It was a very nice experience as well, because Iranian men are very, I wouldn't say vain. How do you say, what's the word? They take a lot of care with their bodies and their appearance.
Well,
and so Jorge went to the barber because his beard was already very long. And we didn't want people to make any connections, because every time there was somebody with long beard, people were saying, oh, that one is, they made the political associations. And just to make sure there was nothing of this with us, Jorge had his beard cut.
Yes, Christoph, it would be lovely to meet you. I mean, our route will be now, just to wrap it up, and I think we are wrapping it up now. So again, we will stay in Azerbaijan now, working on the magazine. In July, the magazine will be published, and probably around June, we will be heading to Kazakhstan. So we will be crossing from Azerbaijan to Kazakhstan with the boat, and then we will cross Kazakhstan. We will enter Uzbekistan, and after Uzbekistan, we will enter Kyrgyzstan, right? After Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia. In Kyrgyzstan, there's just like a small hint. We will probably stay a little bit longer. So maybe there will be an issue about Kyrgyzstan, who knows? And then Mongolia, and then Russia, and then hopefully Japan. So hope to see you, Tanya. Yes, so
and hope to see anybody who goes
Yes.
on that site. So Christoph, if you're planning to go somewhere to one of these countries, please tell us. It would
Yes,
be lovely to meet.
it would be really lovely to meet.
And anybody else, if you are going, just tell us. It's
Yes.
really nice to meet friends when you are traveling.
Thank you so much for all your comments. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was lovely. Share the video with friends of yours that are interested in Iran or in motorcycle travel and things like that. Share it, comment. I mean, don't hesitate. And pre-order the magazine if you feel like that was interesting. I mean, the pictures. And hope to see you and to read you again. Big hugs. Kisses to Luxembourg, Portugal. Thank you for all your comments. To Switzerland, to
Germany,
the US, to Germany, to France, to Belgium,
Georgia,
to Georgia, to I don't know who we missed. If we missed
some countries.
Nein, Pony, die Schrift haben wir leider nicht gelernt. Wir haben aber ein bisschen Farsi gelernt, also sprechen,
Not
also paar Wörter. Wir haben nicht verhungert. Das hat geklappt. Aber eine sehr schöne Sprache. Und die Schrift, boah, super schön. Super schön. Fürs Lernen hat es leider nicht gereicht. Okay. Dann, that's more or less it. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Hoppla. And here.
Eu acho que agora nós